I raised my son with every breath in my lungs and every ache in my bones. I didn't have diamonds or a mansion, but I had love. Deep, tireless, unbreakable love, and I gave it to him without hesitation. I skipped meals to make sure his lunchbox was full. I worked 2 jobs to buy him shoes he wouldn't be embarrassed to wear. I walked to work in the rain so he could ride to school dry. Every scraped knee, every heartbreak, every late-night fever, I was there. Holding him, healing him, helping him rise. I whispered bedtime stories into his dreams and stitched hope into every blanket he slept under. I didn't raise a boy. I built a future. Brick by emotional brick, sacrifice by quiet sacrifice. I stood in crowded auditoriums, clapping with teary eyes as he walked the stage. I cheered louder than anyone when he won spelling bees or scored goals. I silenced my own pain, postponed my own dreams, just to give him wings. And when he fell in love for the first time, I smiled. Even when it hurt, I smiled. Because that's what mothers do. We let go, softly, silently, even when our hands still ache to hold on. He brought her home with that starry look in his eyes. She was polished, poised, and smiled like she already owned the room. I welcomed her. I truly did. I told myself she'd love him the way I had, deeply, endlessly, selflessly. But love has layers, and hers was cold. At first, the changes were subtle. She'd forget to invite me to dinners. She'd interrupt when I spoke. My son's visits became shorter. His eyes dimmed around me, like I was a memory he was trying to suppress. Then came the tension, the cold silences, the awkward hugs, the way family felt like a performance instead of a bond. I wasn't mom anymore. I was tolerated. Like an antique kept in the corner, out of guilt. My voice no longer mattered. My presence slowly erased. And the most painful part? My son let it happen. Piece by piece, I watched him hand over the keys to his heart, shutting the door on the very woman who taught him how to open it. Then came the day that shattered every illusion, the reading of the will. My husband, my partner of nearly 5 decades, had passed. A man I had held hands with through bankruptcy, betrayal, and sickness. A man I stood beside, not just in love, but in war, life's war. We had nothing once, just a dream and each other. And brick by broken brick, we built a life. That day wasn't meant to be a battle. It was supposed to be closure. But what I got was betrayal. My daughter-in-law leaned back in her chair, wearing a designer coat I recognized from the catalog I once dreamed of affording. Her lips curled into a smirk that still haunts me. "You're out," she said, tapping her nails against the table. "That's what the will says. Not a dime for you." I couldn't breathe. Not because of the money, but because of the cruelty in her voice. The entitlement. The sheer audacity. And worst of all, my son didn't say a word. He stared at the floor. Avoided my eyes, like a boy caught between love and loyalty, but too weak to choose right. I didn't cry. Not yet. My hands shook, my heart cracked, but my dignity stood tall. I swallowed every scream, every decade of sacrifice, every birthday I never celebrated for myself. And then the silence broke. The lawyer, an older man with tired eyes, let out a chuckle. Not a joyful laugh. A stunned one. The kind people make when reality defies cruelty. "Actually," he said, flipping pages, "that couldn't be further from the truth." The air froze. My daughter-in-law's smirk vanished. My son's brows furrowed. And then the lawyer read the will. Word by word, my husband's voice rose from the page like a ghost defending my honor. To my beloved wife, who stood beside me through storms and silence, who built this family with blood, sweat, and quiet resilience, I leave the controlling interest in our company, the estate, and $55 million in cash. To my son, I leave $10 million and a hope that he one day remembers the hands that raised him. To his wife, I leave nothing, for she brought poison to my family's well. I didn't speak. I didn't move. My breath slowed. My heart steadied. I was no longer invisible. I was seen. Finally, after years of swallowing my worth, I was heard in a room that tried to silence me. And her, the woman who tried to erase me, she faded, like a shadow that only existed in the absence of light. My light. My son didn't say a word. His face was blank. But I saw it. Behind the pride, behind the shame, was a boy who finally realized the price of forgetting who loved him first. And if you've ever felt invisible, if your sacrifices have ever been overlooked, please hear me. You are not replaceable. You are not too late. Your silence is not weakness. Your love is not disposable. And justice? It finds its way home, even if it takes a lifetime. This isn't about wealth. This isn't about revenge. This is about every woman who carried a family on her back while the world looked away, who dried tears, kissed wounds, and kept moving forward without thanks or applause. If you're still here, listening, then pause this video right now and subscribe. Not for me.
For you.
For every quiet warrior who deserves to be heard. Because this isn't just a story. This is a reckoning. The days after were a blur. Apologies came in whispers. Visits came with guilt. My son, my baby, stood on my porch one morning like a child again. No wife. No bravado. Just him and a cracked voice. "I'm sorry, Mom," he said. "I didn't see it. I didn't know how far gone I was." I looked at him, really looked, and saw not just my child, but a man drowning in regret. "Love doesn't mean silence," I told him. "It means protection. And you didn't protect me."
He cried that day.
The way he did when he was little and scraped his knee. The way he did when his dog died. I held him, not because he earned it, but because I still loved him. I always would. But forgiveness isn't about forgetting. And respect isn't given for apologies whispered in shame. I had rebuilt myself already, from ashes, from emptiness, from years of quiet pain. I didn't need anyone's validation anymore. I had heard the only voice that mattered, my own. I spent the next few weeks walking through the house like it was mine again. And not just legally, but spiritually. I repainted the walls. Opened drawers that hadn't been touched in years. Played music we used to dance to before life got too loud. I planted roses in the backyard. The same roses my husband used to pick for me every Sunday. I found my photo albums, my old journals. I found me. This story isn't to shame anyone. It's to awaken everyone. Because there are thousands, millions of women out there who feel forgotten in the homes they built. Replaced in the families they created. Silenced in the legacies they carried. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are the foundation. If this story touched something deep inside you, if you saw your own pain between these lines, then don't let it stop here.
Subscribe, share, speak.
Because when we tell these stories, we don't just heal. We build an army of light in a world that tries to dim our flame. We rise. One voice, one story, one truth at a time. And this story? This isn't just about one woman and $77 million. This is about every mother, every grandmother, every silent woman who deserves to be heard. And now she finally is.